This evening's guest is a wife, a homeschool mom, a bodybuilder, a business owner, and put God first. Welcome, Staci Lindsay.
Yeah, you like that intro?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. How you guys doing out there? It's KLA the Wanderer, and as you seen the intro, this is my guest, that's Staci. If I'm correcting that right, if pronouncing it right,
Stacy.
Staci Lindsay, Lindsay,
Yes.
Lindsay. Yeah, the computer said Staci.
I know, it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with me, and yeah. So what got you into bodybuilding, if you can share?
Um, so when I was 19, I was in a car accident and it fractured my back.
Mm,
It strained a lot of the muscles in my upper back. I was in physical therapy for 7 months. I was only
mm,
19. Um, my physical therapist at the time said, you will need to be a bodybuilder for the rest of your life to keep from having too much pain in your back. Um, at 19, so this is in the 90s, we didn't have social media. We didn't have YouTube. I lived in a tiny country town. It was not, women didn't lift weights, where
right,
I was. Back then, it just wasn't a trend like it is now. So I didn't really understand what he meant by that, but I went to the gym. I had to ask mostly men. There was one female in there that lifted weights. She was older than me. So I had to ask the old timers, how do I do this? How do I do that? And then I would have to watch them. And then I was getting like the magazines, muscle and fitness magazines,
mm,
all those magazines, because we didn't have,
right,
Instagram.
yeah,
So I was just learning sort of in a way self-taught, I guess, just trying to figure it out. And then I realized I loved it. And then off and on through the years, I was always really active, always played sports, even as an adult. I played softball, bowling leagues, volleyball. I just love sports. So I was always really active, but I didn't understand the bodybuilding part. Um, so it was off and on, and then, married, having kids and life, and not consistent. And I was always in a lot of pain, just,
mm,
chronic pain. Um, so the doctors diagnosed me with, arthritis and bursitis and fibromyalgia, and I was taking all of these medications, to manage that. Um, so it wasn't until about 6.5 years ago, I started having severe knee pain. And I went to the doctor and he says, we're going to need to put you on some immunosuppressants. I think it's arthritis. And I was really tired of taking medication. I just didn't want to do it anymore. I was tired of it. So I told him, I said, I really would like to lift weights again. Like, I would like to be able to do that. And he kind of laughed at me and he said, you'll never be able to lift weights again. So right then it was like, okay, you watch, watch me. And so I got back in the gym about 6.5 years ago. Fast forward maybe 2 years, I passed my NASM certification to be a personal trainer. And I just really fell in love with it. So the bodybuilding part, I always said I would never do because I felt like it was extreme. I felt like it was unhealthy. I didn't understand everything about it, but what I knew about it felt, I guess, dangerous,
right,
and it can be if you don't do it the right way. However, my oldest son passed away suddenly 3 years ago. And when he passed away, I knew immediately that I needed to do something.
mm,
It's you're either going to fall apart or you have to sort of like turn your heartache into something positive. You know, that pain has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I'm going to compete. And I just said, that's what I'm going to do. So I met my trainer at the gym, and he's a very successful bodybuilder himself, natural bodybuilder. And I started working with him and just kind of, you know, it's really easy when you're angry or frustrated or heartbroken to like lift heavy weights, you know, like when you're angry, you know, like that's a good way to take it out, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So, I just put all my focus, like I put my focus there. I have 2 other little kids at home that I'm homeschooling. We own a business, a construction business. So, it was just really just a way to sort of like honor my son's life, you know, by living well and not falling apart and not, you know, neglecting my other kids. I mean, you know, it was horrible. So I knew I needed to do something. And so that's when I decided to start competing.
Yeah. My condolences to your son. How old was he?
Thank you. He was 24.
Oh,
He
wow.
was 24. Yeah,
Wow.
he had just retired from the Marines. He was a Marine.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Wow.
and he had retired and he had plans to go to college, and he, you know, according to everyone that he served with, he was exceptional. He was a wonderful person, and he was you know, he was a great Marine. You know, he was very
Yeah.
well respected.
Yeah.
So it was a huge loss for a lot of people. And so, you know, especially when someone so good is taken away so soon, you know, I feel like it's so important to honor them, you know, and there's not really anything you can do that sort of makes up for it, but I really want people around me to see, and I want my my other little kids to see, you know, that the worst thing in the world can happen to you, but you know, God is still good and life is still good, and there's still reasons to smile. There's still
Yeah.
reasons for me to live. You
Right.
know, there's still, you know, life is still beautiful. And
Yeah.
my son would want me to achieve my goals and would want me to be happy. And so that's really sort of my testimony, you know, and
Yeah.
I love it when people ask me what got into it, because I get to talk about him, but also just, you know, sometimes life is like really, really shitty and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can fall apart or you can choose to do something positive.
Yeah.
So I hope that other people can be, you know, inspired by that, because, you know, it really is just a choice. I mean, I can't change that he's gone. You know, I can't change that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being
Everything
miserable
happens.
is not.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard, you know, like everything happens for, you know, we're not here in a, it's temporary. We're here temporary. We just
Yes.
don't, you know.
Yes. This is not our home.
Yeah.
And, you know, I, of course I'm upset and of course I'm heartbroken, but
Of
I'm here
course.
for a reason. And, you
Yeah.
know, life is too good for me to not, you know, life is too good, you know.
Yeah.
I need to live and live well.
Yeah.
And so, and I love lifting weights. I really love it. And I love all of the little accomplishments. You know, you bump the weight up 5 pounds on your chest press, and it's like, you know, yay, it's like super amazing, you know, like I did it. So it's fun. It's just,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, like in the gym, like what's your favorite, like, thing you like to do, like in terms of like body parts, like you like working out on?
So right now it's kind of a newer thing for me, but right now it's my bench press, chest press.
Yeah.
So I don't do barbell bench press only because I don't want to ask for a spot. You know, and you can't really progress in the weight unless you have a spot. I'm not going to hurt myself. So I use a machine that's, you know, there's control there. I don't have to I'm not going to hurt myself.
Yeah.
But that's been like really fun. Like, you know, most women don't, you know, they don't want to lift, you know, but you need this muscle to support your back, to support your neck, you know, it all has to work together. So it's been, and it's helped my back a lot too. So it's been really fun. I really like it.
Yeah, you got a guest. You have Jessica in the house. Jessica, hi, mom. She said hi. Yeah. Like, did your daughter like learn from you? Like when did she like follow you to the gym or anything like that?
So we have workout equipment at home, and I will catch them wanting to learn to do stuff. And you know, of course, I'm all about physical activity, and I homeschool, so I make them do stuff all the time. Sometimes we'll do little workouts. You know, we shoot a lot of hoops. You know,
Okay.
play frisbee. You know, we're very active, and so I hope that they will sort of, you know, I have a boy and a girl, little ones. So I
Okay.
hope they'll follow along, you know. I mean, when I was growing up, I grew up in a situation that was not ideal. You know, I had a really rough childhood.
Yeah.
And so I wish that I would have had an outlet. And so I think it's important for kids, you know, they need to move, they need to be outside, you know, they need to play outside, which is something that's just not, it's not as common these days, you know.
Yeah, a lot of social media stuff, you know.
Well, you saw
And
my daughter, she's on. She's
yeah,
in the
yeah,
other room. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Like how was like your first preparing for your first show? Like,
You know, so being natural, I feel like, and my coach is very, he's very aware of health and even just mental health. You know, he's very, because it can be very taxing just mentally, you know, and then you have the body dysmorphia, you know, some days you feel really heavy and nothing fits, and then other days you feel really skinny, and
yeah,
it really, you really have to be strong mentally. So it was definitely a learning process, especially, you know, it was a challenge gaining weight on purpose. And, you know, you've probably heard other people say like the bulking phase is really hard,
yeah,
forcing yourself to eat,
yeah. And
you know.
natural bodybuilding, you a natural bodybuilding, yeah,
Yes. So
yeah,
I mean, the eating, that was the hard part, you know, just eat, and then gain weight. And then, but I mean, I knew I was doing it for a reason. So, and I'm 45. So it wasn't like I was, you know, in my 20s, and, you know, it was tough, but I was okay with it because I had a goal, and like, I'm going to reach my goal, you know? So yeah.
yeah,
So it was fun. And then, getting to the show was, it was really interesting because I do have a lot of anxieties and a lot of social anxiety, but I was not nervous at all. I was really surprised. I was really
Nice.
surprised. I remember getting to the hotel when it was the day before the show and seeing all of these other athletes. They all
Yeah,
look so amazing. And like, I was like, you know, starstruck, you know, like, wow, you know, I'm surrounded by all of these other people that have the same mindset, the same work ethic, and they all, you know, we all love this. And it's like a cool little club, you know.
yeah, yeah,
It was so fun. I loved it. It was great.
yeah. What division you're in?
So I'm in figure.
Okay, I figured that.
Yeah. So when my coach asked me, you know, what division do you want to compete in, and I was already thinking figure, just because I already had a lot of muscle, especially on my upper
Yeah,
body. You know,
yeah,
I'm muscular. And he said, and this is not to take away from any other competitors at all. He just said, you know, your personality and your body type, and, you know, with your muscle, he said, you're definitely not a bikini girl. He said, I think you're a figure. You
Yeah.
know, I'm short. I'm only 5'1". You know, I'm not tall and lean with, long, lean legs, long torso. I have shorter torso. So, and then, I naturally build muscle fairly easily, especially
Mm.
I think for being older. It's genetically, I'm more inclined to put on muscle, especially in my upper body. So I didn't want to back off, and
Yeah.
I love lifting. So I'm like, I'm going to lift as heavy as I can, and whatever look comes with that, that's the look.
Yeah. When Jessica says we're not little,
Oh my gosh.
someone else is watching, I think. Yeah, yeah. Like, that kind of interests me. Like, when you went to go see the doctor, years ago, and he said that you would have to be a bodybuilder. What was your thoughts on that? Like, what
I didn't
is the
really,
psychic or something?
well, I knew he was, I mean, I knew what weightlifting was,
Yeah.
and then, so my first, I grew up in a tiny town in Texas, and no one around me, you know, they didn't really care about what they ate. They didn't exercise.
Mm.
It just wasn't how I don't know about you, but that was not how I grew up. I did
Right.
not grow up around that. So my first exposure actually was, I used to watch American Gladiators.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
loved that show. And
Yeah.
I would see those women on the show, and they were huge. And of course,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
didn't know
mean,
what it took. Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't know what it took to get there, but I was
Yeah.
like, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to be like that. Um, so I guess when he said that, I sort of thought, that's what I thought back to. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. How do you do that? I don't
Yeah.
know what that means. And I was still a kid. I was only 19. So it took me, until I was much older, like, in my late 30s, to really understand what it meant to build muscle,
Right.
to have extra muscle on your body, supporting your bones, supporting your joints, you know, but he was right, that spot that used to hurt all the time, it does not bother me.
That's good.
I built a strong back, and so almost exactly a year after my son passed away, I was in a car accident. I was T-boned,
Mm.
and I got a head injury, a neck injury. I have 2 herniated discs in my lower back, which caused me a
Wow.
lot of nerve pain.
Yeah.
That was right in the middle of my training. I wasn't in prep yet. And it really made me upset. I'm like, no, I've been training for a year. I'm doing it for a reason. This is not, and it was the hardest year. Doctor's appointments, injections. I would be in bed for weeks at a time with the nerve
Mm.
pain and not being able to go, it was rough, but I pushed, and
Yeah.
I saw a physical therapist then for my back. The doctors had told me that their next step was to potentially fuse my spine. And I'm thinking, I'm young, you know, like, I'm not ready to do that yet, like, I don't want to do that yet. If I need to in the future, I'll think about it. So I went and saw a physical therapist who was, and this would have been 2 years ago, another physical therapist. He was also a former bodybuilder. He just prescribed me deadlifts, squats, and tons of core exercises to build up the muscle around those 2 herniated discs in my lower back to ease the pain. And I have these 2 herniated discs, and I'm doing deadlifts, and I have built up the muscle, and I'm not in, I still have days that aren't great,
Yeah.
but I am miles away from where I was without surgery. So, thank God, so far. So I'm also like really passionate about weightlifting. Like, even if you have injuries, there could potentially be a way that weightlifting could help alleviate some of that.
Yeah, yeah,
before surgery. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, like a lot of people, they say that, especially people that starting out bodybuilding or been doing bodybuilding for years, that it does help.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can tell you firsthand, 2 car accidents and 2 back injuries, and I'm a bodybuilder, like that's, so,
yeah,
but I don't love, I guess I don't love people telling me I can't do something.
right,
So,
right. I mean, it depends on you. Like, it's all in the mind and stuff.
yep,
Like what you want to do. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, when my knees were hurting so bad when I was younger, the
yeah,
doctor that told me I'd never lift weights, that's when I saw him. Um, I mean, I was on crutches. I was driving a motorized scooter in the store. I I still went to the gym every morning, and I couldn't do like leg exercises. I couldn't do any, it was too painful, but I did what I could.
yeah,
Because I knew that, like, especially for my mental health, if you're in a lot of pain and you sort of allow that to sort of take over, your quality of life is like, you know, um, it's a mindset. It's just, it's like I said, sometimes life is really shitty, but you just gotta push through, you know?
yeah, yeah. Like, you say you put God first. Like, what? You're a devoted Christian, or you go to church?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, we do. I do. And I've actually, so when I was growing up, um, I did not have a great home life. It was actually pretty terrible. So I found a way, whether it was through friends or neighbors, I would always find a way to get to church, because at church, people were kind to me and they loved me and they showed me love, and I felt safe. Church was the place when I was a kid that was like my safe place. So it was always a positive thing for me. And then um when I was probably 8 or 9, sometimes when I was growing up I would get birthdays, sometimes I wouldn't. Most of the time, my birthday did not get celebrated. Um,
Mhm.
but I went to church, and this really sweet lady gave me a gift for my birthday, and she gave me a Bible. And I remember I'm just this little kid, and I just would go outside at my house. I would go outside and I would just read my Bible and talk to God. And, it got me through, you know, because it was rough. And God really got me through that, my childhood, you know,
Yeah, that's
and
good.
yeah, because I mean, that's the only reason I'm okay now with my son passing away.
That's
Um,
good.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah. Like, with bodybuilding, like how many shows you competed in?
I have only competed in one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm a
What?
newbie.
Oh, okay. This is recent, like months
Yes,
ago.
this is
Oh,
like two
okay.
years ago. Well, it's 2 years
2 years
ago,
ago.
and then I've been building for a year and a half. I will be starting prep soon to do some shows later in this year.
Okay. And you compete in the NFF?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm looking at other natural federations as well.
Yeah.
Um, there are so many. The NFF is a Texas-based organization.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they have one show in Louisiana, but other than that, they're all in Texas. They might have one
Okay.
in Oklahoma, but it's all in Texas. And so, you know, there are so many shows here. I guess I never. I would love to go to the Yorton though. Not that, that's a
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah. I was
But
talking to
other than that,
somebody.
yeah.
Yeah.
But so other than that, there are just so many big shows here in the state. But Texas is a huge state.
Yeah.
Um, so that's what, and the NFF. I really like the NFF. They put on a really good show. You know, the Shaws, they're great. Like it was great. I am thinking of the USBF, possibly the WMBF. Yeah, so I'm open to other federations, and I right now I want to compete at the end of the year and then see how that goes. I'm really hoping to secure a pro card.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Like when you was growing up, when you kind of discovered bodybuilding, like who were like somebody that you kind of was inspired by or
So
wanted to emulate?
I always really liked Jamie Eason, and I think part of
Okay.
that was because I could relate to her because she was small, and I've always been a very small person, you know. And then also, I just really loved Monica Brandt. I don't know what it was, but
Sound familiar, Monica Brandt. Monica
yeah,
Brandt.
she was famous back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then of course, I've always been a huge Ronnie Coleman fan.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
obviously I'm not going to look like him, but
Right.
I love him.
Yeah. What you think about him now? Like where he can't walk, barely walk.
You know, so I guess part of me feels like as long as he's happy with his life and happy with
Yeah.
what he did, that's what really matters, right? Like he says in interviews he has no regrets. I don't know if I necessarily fully believe that, but at the same time, I mean, he's
Yeah.
done things that other people are never going to do.
Yeah.
No.
That's true.
For me personally, would I ever go to that extreme? Absolutely not.
Right.
Absolutely not. I want to still be strong and mobile and able when I'm older. You know,
Right.
that's a big goal for me. It's really just to still be healthy and strong when I'm older.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, have you ever been a spectator of the sport? Like watching it?
a little bit, but not
Oh,
tons. I think there was always this huge misconception because it's such a, I guess, an elite group of people, a small group of people. There was always this misconception that um, it was super dangerous and women don't do that. And in my previous marriage and with my family, it was always, oh, you're gonna look like a man. You
yeah.
can't
That's
lift
the
weights.
normal thing. Yeah.
So there was all of this like stigma and then of course, you know, with the supplements, you know, I guess I always assumed that you just had to take tons of supplements
Yeah.
to do bodybuilding. I knew nothing about natural bodybuilding, you know. Obviously, when I got older, I realized that, you know, those women on American Gladiators, you know, they weren't natural, you know. So I just associated it with a bunch of negativity, you know. And then also there are competitors out there that really take it to the extreme, you know.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I still see it online now. Extremely low calorie, you know, hours of cardio a day. You know, I I don't want to do that. You know, I want to do it in the healthiest way possible. So I didn't realize that was possible. Now I know you can still bodybuild and do it in a healthy way. You know, now I understand
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. How's your diet like?
I eat so especially in the off season, I eat a lot of chicken breasts and potatoes. I say chicken and potatoes, that will make you grow. Extra lean hamburger. I eat a lot of that. I eat some rice. So I do not agree with eating a bunch of crappy, yucky food just to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
I like to eat. I want to enjoy what I'm eating. I'm not going to eat cold rice and cold sweet potato unless I have to, you know? So, I eat, like, I have a cheeseburger and sweet potato fries almost every day. It's extra lean ground beef. The fries aren't fried, they're baked. You know, there are ways around the calories, you know, and of course I count my macros and my calories. I eat a lot of tacos. I make protein pancakes. I eat those every day. They're delicious. So right now my diet's at 1,600 calories a day, which is a slight deficit.
Okay. You want to stay in figure? Like you never thought about doing like women's physique or anything like that?
I have thought about it. Yes, I have.
Oh.
Just because, you know, I think part of it's just my nature. Like, you know, you want to do more, you know, bigger, you know, better. Like, so I've thought about it. Yeah, I've definitely contemplated it. And then my posing coach, she had mentioned, she's like, you know, maybe you could think of what about wellness, you know? And so, which wellness would be fine, except I just really don't want to back off of my upper body. I don't want to, like, you know, have to size down for anything, you know?
Yeah. So we got a guest, all the rage, George Page. Good evening. And then he says, with natural, it takes a lot more time to gain size, yet the conditioning is better. Like, what did the judge say about your physique?
The judges?
Yeah.
Oh, so I actually I felt like the scoring was really fair. And I was actually surprised at a couple of the scores that were higher. You know, it was my first show. I wasn't expecting to do anything. I got second place. I competed twice.
Right.
In overall and in masters, and I got second place. And then the same girl, Alexis McLaughlin, she got first place in both.
Right.
So she got first place twice, and then I got second place twice. The scoring was very fair. I got 4s and 5s. I think I might have only gotten 1 3. I did not have the tie-ins, so that's what we're working on this time. You know, my legs are my weakness as opposed to my upper body. So working more on that, trying to grow more on that.
Yeah.
But the scoring was really fair. I mean, I felt like I got really great scores. If you're getting a 4 out of a 5 or a 5 out of a 5 at your first show, you're doing pretty good. You know, I was totally happy with it.
Yeah, let me show you when you was competing and stuff, and then I'll scroll to the back to the other ones. Yeah, I like the way how you do them leg exercises, the squats. Yeah, I be trying to do something like that a little bit because I got some weights at home, you know. So
yeah. Those are
like how many? Yeah, you have a nice physique. Yeah. For figure,
Thank you. I'm really hoping. Well, you know, I can say I hope, but I know my legs.
Oh, this is. No, I was going to actually. This is the winner.
Yes, that's Alexis. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
And you know, like I said, it was totally fair. Like she did have better conditioning in her glutes and hamstrings.
This is Alexis McLaughlin.
Yeah.
Yeah. I talked to her like last year. Yeah, she's a nice lady. Yeah.
So it was just a super fun experience, and I really am looking forward to this year seeing what I've done, because I worked really hard and I'm excited to see what I've done, you know?
Right. Like, how long do you I'm working out?
You know, as long as no one chit chats with me, I can get out of there.
Yeah, I know. I get
an hour
that.
and a half, you know?
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I have a great gym, and I love everybody that I go to the gym with. Everybody's super friendly and kind. And I don't know where all these ladies are getting all this, you know, guys are all creeps at the gym. They are not, you know, it's not how it is.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you. So, usually about an hour and a half. I might be there for 2 hours if I do the treadmill. I don't do cardio.
Okay.
I just get steps every day. So like I get 10,000 steps a day.
Okay. So when you say what, like guys, they compliment you a lot, or
Yeah, I get lots of compliments. And
okay,
it's nice because they're respectful and they just appreciate hard work, and there aren't very
yeah,
many girls that are lifting heavy. I think when I'm at the
yeah,
gym, there's like one other girl there that she's jacked. But yeah, there's only one other. There just aren't. It's just not right now. Honestly, at the gym, it's mostly just glute exercises for the girls. Like it's all glutes.
okay. Like, what's your husband think about you as a like in the shows?
He thinks it's really cool. He
That's
actually
good.
was he weightlifts. He's very into lifting. He will never compete. That's just not his thing. But he's always been into
Yeah,
weightlifting and even CrossFit for several years. So it's fun because we can talk about it and talk about different exercises or so it's nice to live with someone that shares that same interest.
do you know like how far you want to go in competing, or it's still early for you?
I mean, honestly, it's I realize that not everyone can do this, whether it's physically or mentally or their lifestyle doesn't support it or their family life doesn't or their spouse doesn't support it. I realize that not everyone can do this, and so I feel
Yeah,
very blessed that I'm able to. And I realize too, I'm not going to be able to do this forever. I will be 46 in September. I'm very late to the bodybuilding game. So I really just want to do as much as I can for as long
yeah.
as I can.
I mean, this
Um,
women, this real quick, like this women that started like in your at your, this is by her name is Sherry Priami. She started like in her 40s, and yeah, and right now I think kind of off. She's off right now, competing, but she started like in her 40s, and she looked great too. So
yeah.
yeah,
Well, and I think too, though, when you're older, like your mindset, like you're tougher, mentally.
yeah,
As we get older,
yeah.
we get tougher, so we can handle it more. Um, so yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, even just being, natural, like, it's tough. I see, other people that aren't, and it's a lot easier, and they're telling me, it's easier. But you know, honestly, it's all going to come down to health. And if for whatever reason I need to say supplement hormones, if a
Mm,
doctor says, you need to do this for health reasons, then I obviously couldn't compete naturally anymore. But that
yeah,
would put me with women that are taking a lot more than just hormone replacement.
yeah,
So, do I want to try to keep up with them, or, I don't know. I would really, if and when I step back from competing, I really want to I would love to train competitors, you know.
yeah.
I would love to do
Is
that.
this is there someone that you follow on social media, like in terms of a bodybuilder, like a woman's bodybuilder in any division?
Oh gosh, I follow a lot. I follow a lot of them. Of course I watch what Alexis does.
Yeah,
I watch her, and then her and her husband have a podcast, so I listen to them every week.
that's cool.
I keep up with her, yeah, what she's doing.
Yeah.
Um, who else am I following? I think gosh, I can't even think right now. I'd have to think about it.
Yeah, I know Alexis. She's a vegan, and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be even tougher, but she does it.
yeah,
And she does
yeah,
it well, you know?
yeah,
So it can be done. I
yeah,
love that because it just shows people like, no, it can be done, you know?
yeah,
And really I think it just goes back to where there's a will, there's a way,
yeah. But me and you we're a bit similar because, like in terms of bodybuilding, I kind of discovered it like in 90, like about like 15 or 14, no, 14 or 15, no, 15 or 16, I would say that time bracket, that age bracket. Yeah, and I would see in the newsstands and I would pick them up, and and really it's the women that kind of drew closer to me a bit. But also I wanted to kind of look like the men, and I kind of discovered about Lee Haney and
Yeah.
Dorian Yates and
Yeah.
what other people. I can't. Sometimes my mind just kind of blanks out too, like you and stuff. And yeah, like and something. There were times I wanted to look like them a bit too, But just seeing the women, it kind of, I would say, blows your mind a bit and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially like I said, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how old you are, but for me, when I grew up,
I'm
it just wasn't.
49. I'm older than you.
Yeah, it just wasn't a thing,
Yeah,
And I grew up in southern Texas, and so it really wasn't a thing,
yeah,
It's not prim and proper,
yeah, yeah,
So, but for whatever reason, I feel sort of predestined, just as a kid watching American Gladiators, and they're so awesome. And then, I get in the car accident and it tells me, I feel like it's all sort of lined up, and also I feel like God blessed me with a healthy outlet,
mm,
childhood stuff, adulthood stuff, my son passing away, like I have a healthy outlet, and
right,
I'm just really grateful for that,
right. Who was your favorite American Gladiator?
Storm.
Storm. Yeah. Uh, what was it? The black girl? Storm.
No, I thought Storm's the blonde.
Storm. Okay. Right now I'm looking at Ice.
Yeah, Ice. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember they had a black girl there. I thought she
Yeah.
was Storm. I'm not sure. Yeah.
They have
Joe.
a documentary about the old cast.
Yeah.
Yes,
Some of
that.
them died. Yeah. He
Yeah,
said
but
his.
that was really interesting to watch all these years later than to really
Some of them
see,
died.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. And then, they're very open about the stuff they were doing and using, and it was wild.
I didn't watch all of it, but I seen like some of them, like when what's her name? She was sharing Ice. She was sharing about it. Her and Nitro, they were sharing some things about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I also, when I was a kid, I loved the movie Terminator. I loved Arnold Schwarzenegger when I was a kid too. I loved him.
Yeah.
And seeing Sarah Connor, which is funny now because now, like she's not that big, but when we were kids, her, she had arm muscle, and I was like, whoa, woman with arm muscles, that's crazy, but she was the badass, gonna save the world.
Yeah, Sarah Connor was, she was cool. Yeah, especially when she was doing them pull-ups and stuff.
Yeah.
Like you, how many pull-ups like since you've been, competing? Not that much.
Part of that depends on how heavy I am. So it depends on if it's like during the off season or during prep. I can do more during prep because I'm lighter, right?
Okay.
But right now, gosh, it's been so long since I did pull-ups. I could probably do 10.
That ain't bad. I mean, shit. Now you probably could do more than me. Like I remember the last time.
I don't practice. Those are
yeah,
one of those.
I don't practice neither.
Yeah, well, so like you can see someone that's like an old, Vietnam vet and skin and bones, but they can like crush them, and then someone that's super fit with muscle and they can't hardly get any because it's
That's
a
true.
learned skill. You know, it's a
That's
learned
true.
skill. You have to sort of like train your body and your brain to do that.
Yeah.
So if you don't practice it,
Yeah.
it's
That's
like push
true.
up. Yeah.
That's true. That's Jazz was the black one. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Thank you.
yeah. And then Shelly Beatty, Siren passed away.
Oh, okay.
It's a little bit heartbreaking. I think she had like a miscarriage or something. He told me that. Yeah, he told me that. I didn't know. There was even a British version called, yeah, I didn't see the British one, but I know
I
about
didn't
it.
either.
Yeah, I seen it on social media. Yeah, it's on social media. Some of them like they have like IG pages and stuff like that. Cause I was trying to like reach out to one of them and stuff. Yeah, but you
Yeah.
know, I even try to reach out to what's her name to Ice, but she's not really too crazy about the virtual talking. She's more into like one-on-one talking
Yeah,
live and
that's the
stuff.
old school,
Yeah,
the old school
yeah,
thinking. Like when I tell
yeah,
you, I'm like, I'm not very tech savvy. I'm like a
yeah.
pencil paper kind of person.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get with the times and stuff,
I
but you know,
know,
it
I
is what
know,
it is.
I
So, I
know.
mean, I'm not great with technology like that. You know, I think because I went to school, you know, for like computer information, so I had to, and even then, I was still struggling. You know, I think the only time where I'm really like into technology is when it's art and stuff, because I like,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and
Yeah, I wanted to go to art school and be a graphics designer.
yeah.
Yeah, that
What
was kind of my
happened?
goal when I was young. And then I got married, had kids, and all, no college.
Oh, you ever thought about going back? You could always go back.
No, I think I've realized as I've gotten older, there are a lot of things you can do without that piece of paper. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
mean, we have our contracting business. Actually, I'm looking at going to school for interior design.
Okay.
Sort of like an add-on to our business. So I am planning on doing that in the near future. Just to
Yeah.
sort of like add on to our contracting business.
Yeah.
Complement
That's
it.
cool. So
Yeah.
that's your business. Your business was interior design.
It's
That's good.
contracting and we do some design. So a lot of times clients, so if they want their bathroom remodeled, they say, I need help. I don't know what paint color to choose. I don't know what I want, so we'll make suggestions. But I'd like to just full on do designing. I'm always, the wheels are always turning, like what can
Yeah.
I can't do enough, I guess. I have to,
Yeah.
do. So, life's short. Do it all, right?
Right. There was even okay at that, and he said Angela Bassett had killer arms, and what's love do with it? I ain't
Yes.
see that movie yet. I haven't really see the movie yet, but I probably need to check it out. I know it's free,
Yeah,
but
and Tina Turner had awesome legs too.
yeah,
Like
yeah. I see.
always.
Yeah, I seen her. I seen her on Strange Days, and that's that had muscles and stuff. Yeah, because she was pretty bad at the movie too. So, but they
Yeah.
like putting the love got to do with it mostly stuff. So,
Yeah.
like, when growing up, did you see like Corey Everson?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, all of those people were in the magazines,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, because like people we might not know, just kind of recognize her double impact and stuff. She did a movie called Ballistic. I don't know if you've seen that.
Uh-uh.
We seen that like last year. Yeah, she was like she was working for this guy. She was a woman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. It was about female cop trying to find her like no, she was trying to find in that frame her father. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and she was kind of going against Corey Everson in the movie stuff. I don't want to give it, but if you like, type like to Google or type in ballistics, you'll see
Okay.
it. It's free.
Yeah, I
It should
will.
be on YouTube and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, I will.
yeah. So yeah, but I would love to talk, get in touch with you, and talk about your second show. Hopefully you
Yeah.
can get a pro card, anything like that. Go to OCB if you want to yeah, continue the natural bodybuilding. You ever thought about doing the? I think you did say that the MP, if it happens, it happens and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's just if I choose in the near future, and I'm not sure, if I choose in the near future, if a doctor says, hormone replacement therapy is right for you, if I do that, I can't compete naturally. So,
right,
that's a big decision,
yeah,
to do that. And then, you I could only take the hormone replacement therapy and compete against the girls in the NPC or the IFBB. However, how would I do it unless I'm taking other supplements?
yeah,
I just have to weigh that out. I have to weigh
yeah,
that out.
yeah. I mean, it's bodybuilding. It do have like a stigma, especially with because people, like, especially the everyday person, they really don't understand it, and
No, they think that to have any muscle at all, you have to be taking all of these supplements.
yeah,
I mean, you know, people come at me all the time about it, which is fine. I that's what I thought before I really knew. That's what I
yeah,
thought. So I can't blame people for thinking that. You know,
yeah,
um, and I think too, it's hard for people to really comprehend maybe the amount of work it takes, and they don't really,
yeah,
because it does. It's man, it's like consistency, consistency, consistency. It's just you can't stop.
yeah,
You have to keep going, and then when you're at the gym, you're giving 100% at every lift. Um, it's hard, and
yeah,
so I understand why a lot of people don't understand that naturally you can build a lot of muscle. Naturally you
yeah.
can, and if you eat, you have to eat. I'm
Yeah.
not eating salads.
Is there people that you educate, like, that that you educate though on the sport?
Yeah, especially
Yeah,
family. I have some family that never even thought about it, and so they, being around me and learning more about it. And of course, at first, when they heard I was going to compete, it was like, oh no, that's dangerous. That's too hard on your body, and so, they still are sort of like, watching me, cautiously, making sure but when I'm with them, and especially if it's a holiday, I'm going to go off plan. I'm not going to count anything. I'm not going to weigh anything. I'm just going to eat like everyone.
yeah,
It's a holiday and I might not be here tomorrow. So I'm going to eat, the pie at Christmas, birthday parties, there's a way to do it where you can still, celebrate holidays and go out to eat, and there are ways around it. It doesn't have to be so extreme,
yeah, yeah.
you still have to
I
live.
mean, yeah. What about like your friends or something? Like, did they go to your first show, or is just your family?
No, for my first show, I honestly didn't. I mean, they knew I was going, but I didn't
Yeah.
I didn't ask people to go. Number one, it was 2.5 hours away in Dallas, and they would have had to pay for a hotel room. But
Oh,
honestly, I I was a little nervous about that part of it. I didn't want to invite a bunch of people, and then number one, I couldn't hang out with anybody. I was laying in the hotel room resting in between judging.
mm, yeah,
Um, my coach says, go to your room, lay down for, 3 hours until final judging. So I couldn't hang out with them. And then also I kind of just had this thought, which it was my first show. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what it was like. I've never done that before.
Yeah.
And then I kind of had this thought, like, what if they travel all this way and pay for hotel rooms, and then I totally tank, which was
what you mean by tanked? Like, what you mean by tanked?
Like, got last place and everything.
Oh, okay.
But it was a new experience, and I needed to experience it for the first time. So now I know what it's like. Now I know for this show, I'm absolutely inviting everybody. I have a friend that lives in Austin, so I'm going to try to find a show in Austin just so she can go, So, yeah, I'm planning on inviting everyone this time. I know what it's like. I will know what to expect.
And what place you was in? Like 5th place?
No, I got 2nd place.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's good.
I mean, I was happy about it for my first show. I'll take it,
Yeah.
And also, I was a little concerned before. I was like, that would be really crappy if I did all this and got out there and I wasn't competing against anyone. Sometimes you can do a show and you might be the only one. So of course you're gonna win. I didn't want that either. So I was really happy. I got to compete with, I believe, 6 other ladies, and they have been competing for years, and then that was my first show and I got 2nd. So I was like over the moon about that. I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, congratulations and
thank you.
Best of luck in your endeavors. All Ray George Page, what would be her biggest goal accomplished? That's a good question.
I want to say getting a pro card, but I think it would be taking the Yorton. I think would be.
Okay. I'm gonna look out for that.
But honestly, if I get a pro card, I mean, how many people get to do that, right?
Right.
But yeah, the Yorton would be amazing. That'd be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, the Yorton is like the Olympia in natural bodybuilding, OCB. Yep. Yeah. Well, I don't want to take too much of your time, but I really appreciate you sharing, Yeah.
Thank you so much for talking with me. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. It's no problem. Time, Yeah, like I said, if you want to in the future, I'm to it. If you're open to it, Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Watch out for me. Okay.
Yeah, I will. Well, I'm gonna leave with you this outro, but I appreciate all of it, Paige and Jessica, for stopping by. And see y'all later.
Thank you.
All right.